Aaron, how are you?
Lovely.
Have
How
you
are you doing?
recovered after our last discussion?
There was
Dr.
nothing.
Imran and myself with you.
There was nothing to recover.
Nothing to
That's
recover from?
that's really a question for you.
Okay.
Did you really recover from the last
Well, I
time?
asked you first. You said you had nothing to recover for. And I would say that there was, I didn't realize that we even had a discussion, but I just remembered when I saw you. But please.
So,
So how are you today?
by God's grace, I'm okay.
Lovely. Alhamdulillah, I'm absolutely fine. So what have you prepared for today's talk? What new topic have you going to bring up today?
Essentially, the historicity of the person of Jesus Christ
Okay.
versus the historicity of the person of
peace be
Muhammad.
upon him. Okay. Lovely.
So if we yeah, for example, of course, my commendation would be that actually Muhammad is nothing like Muhammad of history is nothing like who you would like to think him to be, which is Muhammad of Islam. Whereas in the case of Jesus Christ, I can firmly establish that Jesus of history is exactly the same as Jesus of the Bible.
Okay. So I think before we start, we need to establish certain principles. And those principles should be, first of all, what is history? What do you mean by history? Number two, what are the valid, recognized ways of recording history? I think those things need to be established.
No, I mean, history has been a field which has been around for a while. So there's nothing, I'm assuming you understand history, I'm assuming, in which case we don't have to go through,
I'll tell you why it's important.
we don't have to go through these things.
Okay,
Let's cut to the chase.
I'll explain to you why
Let's cut to the
Let me
chase.
explain to you why.
Get straight to
Right.
the actual
Let me
subject.
explain to you why it's important.
The subject matter,
Arul,
Abbas,
Arul,
please,
Arul,
one second.
Arul.
The subject matter we
Arul.
can get to rather straight. And my challenge is, I am able to defend the fact of Jesus of the Bible being Jesus of history. And I challenge you, you won't be able to do the same with Muhammad.
No problem.
Muhammad of history, I can demonstrate to be not Muhammad of the Quran of Islam.
Okay. So the reason why I said that is because my understanding of history would be something that has happened in the past that can be established with evidence. This would be history. Something that cannot be established through evidence is hearsay and might be history or might not be history. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Now, here's why. Let's cut to the chase.
No.
Abbas.
No.
In relation to Jesus Christ, Jesus being teacher of what is called the New Testament, Jesus being proclaimed as the Messiah, Jesus being of the nation of Israel, one of the Jews, and Jesus being the beginning point of the church, recognizing him to be God, especially through his death, burial, resurrection. These are historical facts. In contrast, when it comes to Muhammad, my challenge is there is no reason to think that any of the building blocks of what constitutes Muhammad's history, there is no reason to think that any of them is tenable. And therefore, when we go through a rigorous analysis, the Muhammad that we arrive at in history is actually not the Muhammad of Islam, but I'm going to even propose to you that he is a mishmash of various mythological ideas that ultimately he even resembles Abraham. Nothing to do with Muhammad of Islam. So I really want to get to the meat right now. So in relation to Jesus, I have sources that take me all the way to the first century.
Let's have a conversation.
In relation to Muhammad, have you got any such sources?
Okay. Please don't make a very long statement. Look, you spoke, I stayed quiet.
Sure. In that case, can we do timed?
No.
We can do timed.
Just listen to what I'm saying. Don't make a very long statement and then finish it with a small question at the end, assuming that the entire statement you said is accurate. So that's not a nice way of having a discussion.
Sure.
Okay.
Can we have a timed
As long
conversation?
As we're sensible,
No, no.
As long as we're sensible.
No, I'd like to think I am sensible, but you are bringing in some arbitrary statements right now.
No.
Now, you're suggesting don't make too long statements.
No, I didn't say that.
Abbas, let's do this.
Arun,
3 minutes each or
Arun,
4 minutes each,
Arun.
we can have a conversation.
Please listen to what I'm saying first.
I listen to what you're saying.
Just relax. Listen to what I'm saying first. React to what I actually said, not what you think I said.
No, you're playing.
I don't mind.
You're-
Just 1 second,
Yeah,
Arun. Arun, just 1 second. I don't mind if some of your statements are long. I have no problem with that. We're both. Please. We're both grown up, brothers. Please, let's have the discussion. We're both adults. If sometimes you're a bit longer, sometimes I'm a bit longer. It's not. I don't mind. But all I'm saying is, make your statement. Let me come back, and then I'll let you make your. I'll make a statement. Then you come back. It's not a problem.
Abbas, let's put it.
Just relax a second. I haven't finished.
No, you relax. 1 second. You've said a lot of things. If you please relax there, Abbas. Very simply, unless we have a timed discussion, you would think that I am taking much longer than I should be, and that I am not focusing on the points that you are raising. And I'd be thinking the same from my perspective, and that is where I really suggest to us.
So you feel that without timing, you won't be able to control yourself?
No, without a timing,
Is that what you're saying?
you clearly can't stick to the facts.
Okay.
You're making things up in your own
So
mind,
you think I have
and
the
therefore
problem without timing?
I'm suggesting that's what I'm saying,
Can somebody
and that
please
is where,
do the timing?
and that
Because
is where.
Arun can't have a
that-
discussion.
no,
unless we have a clock.
you seem to not be able to have a discussion without dictating terms. I started off without dictating
I'm
terms.
not dictating
Abbas, that's fine.
anything.
Would you like 4 minutes each?
I'm not-
5 minutes each?
No, certainly not.
How many minutes each?
I think 1 minute is enough. 1 minute is more than enough.
1 minute each?
Yes, more than enough.
I'm not. So I really think it should at least be 3 minutes each.
Okay, Arun, let me explain something to you. Under better judgment, the people here were telling me not to have the discussion with you. And I'll tell you why.
Look, this is where we're talking about all sorts of.
I'll tell you why.
But not interested, Abbas.
I'll tell you why.
We have limited time. Has been 10 minutes
Arun,
already.
Arun, I'll tell you why.
My suggestion is,
Arun, I'll
Abbas.
tell you why.
My suggestion is,
Exactly what
Abbas.
you're doing now.
No.
For that reason.
My suggestion is.
Exactly for what you're doing now.
My suggestion
That's
is.
why they were telling me not to have the discussion.
Okay. I don't know who is informing
Because you
you.
have a problem of having a conversation.
My problem is so
You're not
far.
having a conversation.
So far, what I said was, I'm giving you details in relation to Jesus and Muhammad. I've got that far. You were only saying that we should be discussing what history is, what kind of stuff can be used as sources and so on. That is not up for today. So my suggestion is, Abbas, you haven't really come as far as I have. I'd really like for us to cut to the chase, get to the actual meat. And so, Abbas, my point is, we can do 5 minutes each, 4 minutes each. My challenge would be, I'll be able to demonstrate how Jesus of history is Jesus of the Bible, and I challenge you, you won't be able to do the same when it comes to Muhammad. Muhammad of history simply can't be Muhammad of Islam, and that is the challenge. Let's get to that. 4 minutes each, 5 minutes each. What do you think?
Now, right?
What do you think? 4 minutes each, 5 minutes each.
Spoken, right? Did I interrupt you? Did I interrupt you? No. Please don't interrupt me now. Okay. You're saying cut to the chase. Don't discuss the basic definitions of the evidence required to justify valid history. And I'm saying to you that you have to discuss terms to ensure that you don't build a house on sand, that you build a house that's on a sound foundation. Now, the sound foundations of history would be evidence-based. If you don't have evidence to back up your assumptions based upon what you think is history, then you're building a house on sand. That's why I clarified.
That goes without saying.
I haven't finished.
Both of us understand
I
what
understand.
history is.
I haven't finished yet.
So we're not looking for a lecture on what history is,
Hold on a
Abbas.
second.
Can I please suggest something?
No, I haven't finished.
Can we
I
do
haven't
a
finished.
formal debate?
Arun, I haven't finished.
Abbas, can we do a formal debate?
After I finish.
But now you're giving
After
me
I
a lecture
finish.
on
No,
what
I'm not.
history
No, I'm
is
not.
and so
No,
on.
I'm not. Yeah. So I've basically discussed that it has to be evidence-based. Now, you want to move the conversation to what is the evidence for the Muhammad of the Quran, the Muhammad of Islam, as evidentially backed history in relation to the Bible and the historical information that we get from the Bible. Is that correct?
Sure. Can I please suggest something to you, Abbas? What we can do is we can discuss on a precise topic and do a formal. No, I'm not here to discuss on what good history is, what bad history is. Both of us, I'm sure, understand and appreciate. And therefore, my focus is 10 steps ahead of what you are suggesting. My focus is understanding what history is and how we establish a historicity of a person. I really want to get to actually applying those principles in relation to Muhammad and Jesus. So I'm really not looking for a lecture on what evidence is and so on. What is important? So Abbas, can I please suggest something?
Don't be patronizing. I'm not lecturing you. I'm just
You were trying to. Sorry. Can I? Sorry, the camera. Sorry.
As what the definition should be.
Can
Okay.
I please suggest?
What is your
Abbas,
evidence?
can we today is Sunday.
What is your evidence?
Monday or Tuesday, can we do a formal debate online?
If we can't do this sensibly, I'm not going to have a formal debate with you online.
But right now, when I'm saying, well, okay, so should we do something? Let's fix a topic right now, and then jump straight to the topic.
You already mentioned the topic.
The topic is
Yeah, you already mentioned it.
historicity of Jesus. Who is more historical,
Fine.
Jesus
Fine.
or Muhammad?
Fine. What is your source for the history of Jesus?
No, that's not the topic. That's not the topic.
Why?
And here is where
Why?
you clearly don't understand.
Why?
You clearly don't understand
Why? Where you
what
get
it
your
means to
information
finalize a topic.
That's a valid question.
The topic.
That's a valid question.
Abbas, let me ask.
Where are you getting your history of Jesus from?
Let me ask you this Are you willing to have a discussion
Yeah, where
on
do
a
you-
topic?
yes.
The topic
Where
can
do
we
you get
agree
your-
on
where
right
do you
now?
get your evidence
One second.
For the history.
That's not the topic.
Historicity
That's
of
not the
Jesus.
topic at hand.
Why?
The topic at hand is who is more historical,
Yeah, where do you get your evidence?
Jesus or Muhammad?
Where do you get the
Are you
information?
interested in discussing
Absolutely.
that? Sure.
Right.
Who is more
Fine.
historical,
Fine.
Jesus or Muhammad?
Right, fine.
If you're happy with the topic,
Yes.
that's the topic.
Absolutely.
Not what you use, what you
problem.
don't use.
Okay, stop.
Shall we do maybe 5 minutes each?
No.
You're not interested in
I'm
5
not-
minutes
I'm not-
each?
5 minutes is like a lecture. I don't want a lecture.
4 minutes
I
each?
want a conversation.
3 minutes each?
2 minutes each.
2 minutes each won't work.
No, because
So we're talking about historicity.
5 will not work.
Do you think Muhammad is very important?
Ask me a sensible question and I'll answer.
2 minutes each
Don't ask me a
isn't
silly
going to do justice. So 3 or 4 minutes, because these are important characters we have in mind.
You want to have this discussion about the trustable history of Jesus, peace be upon him, as opposed to the history of Prophet Muhammad.
Who is more historical?
Yeah.
Who is historical,
Fine.
Jesus
Fine.
or Muhammad?
Right, fine.
That's the topic.
That's fine.
3 or 4 minutes each. Please choose.
Arun, just start. Please
Timed.
start. No.
Otherwise, you're going to again complain like the way you complained right at the start.
Then we won't have the discussion.
But so you can
It's up to you.
you complained right at the
Have a
start.
conversation, or I'm going to walk away.
Sure. So you don't like a timed discussion. So
No.
okay, in that case,
I'll tell you why.
in that case,
I'll tell you why.
in that case,
I'll tell you
as
why.
we begin, you won't complain that I made a long statement, short statement. You won't, like you did earlier.
Well, if you go,
We-
no, I did not complain about the length of your statement.
When I'm saying you can't complain at all. If you purely want a free-flowing conversation, you can't complain at all.
Arun, you just said that I complained about the length of your statement.
Right at the start, yeah.
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't say. Okay, I didn't say this. What I'm saying is this: while I am focusing on the while I was focusing on the topic at hand, you were focused on complaining about length, about question at the end, and so on. My focus is very simply:
What I said to you,
we do one of two things, Abbas. Abbas, one of two
I'm
things.
going to end the discussion if you don't let me talk.
Sure. My point is very.
You speak, and then I'm going to end the discussion.
So Abbas, one request. One request. Tell me what is needed. Sure, Abbas. Tell me what is needed for you to have a conversation, and then I'll tell you, and then we'll see if we have no agreement.
Adults, when we have conversations, we allow each other to speak. We don't keep interjecting, and we don't keep interfering when the other person is speaking. That's a fair way to have a conversation.
Neither should we be complaining.
We can complain.
No.
Hold on. See, you're just interrupting me again. If you make a long statement and you finish it with a short question at the end, it becomes an assumption that the statement is valid and that I only have to respond to the little question at the end. So all I said to you was, if you make a statement, then I'm going to analyze the entire statement, not just the little question at the end. That's what I said to you. Now, the reason why I said that to you is because this is a common strategy that is used within debates, that you make a long statement and you end it with a very short question, hoping that the statement sticks and the person just has to respond to the question at the end. And I'm not prepared to have that discussion.
Maybe you're speaking for yourself here. That's not my mindset. That might be your mindset. Fine. That might be the Dawah strategy. My point, Abbas, my point is very simple. You said what you want for us to have a sensible conversation. For me, let me tell you what I want. Either we do there are two options that I see. One is we do a free-flowing conversation, in which case, neither would complain regarding anything. We will both focus on the meat of the points made. Whether there was a short question, long question, or a number of assertions made, you can take all of them together in your response. No one is going to dictate terms that you need to focus only on my question, and therefore, one second. So that if we do a free-flowing conversation, my requirement would be, we won't complain. I didn't complain. I don't want you to complain. And then we can have a free-flowing conversation. I don't mind, which we did last time too, with your brother Imran, I think. Your name is Imran or his name? Abbas, yeah, his name is Imran. So with your brother Imran, we had a lovely conversation, but no one complained. You are complaining right at the start. So that's one option. Number two is very simply, if we time it, then as long as we stick to the time, no one should complain. So those are two options. Which one would you like to choose?
Finished?
I'm done. Yeah. Which one would you like to choose?
Well, I'm not going to have to choose exactly what you've said about the two options, obviously, right?
Suggest something else.
I've already suggested to you that I'm not going to have a time discussion. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if you make a 5-minute, effectively becomes not a question, it becomes a lecture. How am I supposed to remember maybe a shotgun response to what I've said? You may raise 10 points in 5 minutes. How am I going to, first of all, remember 10 things? How am I going to be able to respond to each one in my time? It's not possible.
So we can do a formal debate.
So what's a sensible thing, as I told you, is a short question and answer, toing and froing. It becomes more like a conversation. It becomes more genuine. And we deal with each other's points. We don't throw 20 points, 10 points into the basket and then we expect the other person to respond. Because then what happens is that conversation ends up being the person who has the greatest level of sophistry or delivery ends up winning the debate or the discussion, not on the merit of the evidence.
In your mind,
no,
Abbas, I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all.
Not on the data. Now, what I'm asking you,
I don't think so at all.
What I'm asking you is, let's have an honest conversation. You raise a small point. Let me come back to you. Let me answer it. Let me give you a small point. You answer it, and then you make a subsequent point. It's a very nice way of having a discussion.
I don't think that'll go far in a short period of time. So you're not interested in...
I'm not interested in any other way of doing it. If you're happy to do it that way, I'm happy to do it that way.
Okay, that's fine. And how about a debate, formal debate?
I've already said I'm not going to
online. How about your team? Imran might be perhaps willing to do that.
We've already had discussions with you.
Imran wanted to have further discussions.
I understand, but this is not anything new. We've had conversations with you before. You've been on our channel as well.
I haven't been.
Yes, you
Have I been once? Maybe a long time ago. I
Yeah,
can't
long
remember.
time. When we were doing the historicity of the Bible. Remember you came on?
Maybe once a long time ago. I
you
can't
did.
remember.
So you did.
I went on some channel. I
Samuel
can't
Green
remember.
did. Samuel Green has been on there. There was one of the other Christian scholars. So we've had you guys on our channel. Not a problem. But if you want to
I can't remember all the details
if you
right
want to
now.
have a nice conversation, and if you want to say, look, Abbas, why do you believe the history of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? I'll give you some reasons, and then I can ask you, why do you believe what you believe? Then you can give me your evidence or your
Sure.
reason. That's a nice conversation, right?
Sure. So okay.
You
so
happy with that?
yeah.
Okay.
So the way it works, just to get my head around it. So you're going to ask a question.
Yes. You're going to respond and ask me a question.
And then I'm going
I
to
will respond and
when
then
would
ask
you when would you respond to the comments I had?
So, I will ask you a question. You answer the question, and then you can ask me a question.
But when would you respond?
I will answer your question first, and then I will ask you another question.
So this is only
it's very
so
fair.
how can I comment? So for example, I ask you a question.
Yes.
You say something.
Yes.
When do I comment on your response?
Well, you can, if you want to respond again, then you can respond. Then I will respond again to your response, and we will just keep going like that.
So then we're not doing I ask you a question and then you ask me the next question. That's not what's happening. You appreciate
Well,
that.
look, I'm happy to do it that way. But if you want to, if you're the one who wants to respond to my response to your question, that's fine. Then we can just continue that way. And then we can eventually say, okay, this subject we'll stop this subject now. The person who responded last will respond last.
But in that case, I don't get to ask the question. You see that?
Of course you do. You can then ask your question. I'll give you an answer. And then you can answer that question and you can ask another question.
Sure. Okay, let's do this. So you ask me a question. Yeah. I respond. If you want to comment on the response, fair enough, you can. But then I'll comment on your response also.
Okay, that's fine. We'll have the
And then we'll
conversation.
stop there.
Well, no.
We need to have a limit because I then need to ask my fresh question.
Look, because what you're then saying to me is you would like to have the last say on the question.
No, but
And
if I ask the question,
and whoever has asked the question should have the last say. How's
Yeah.
that? Okay?
yeah.
All right.
So that way, then I can move to my question.
fine.
Cool.
No
So,
problem.
right. So when I say last word, we'll do maybe 2 rounds maximum.
Well,
Yeah.
let's just see how it goes.
Yeah. 2
Let's
rounds.
just be sensible and have
No,
an
let's
adult,
agree.
an
Let's
adult
agree.
conversation.
Which is what I came to you with, but you complained first. So 2 rounds, and then whoever asks the question will have the last word.
Fine.
2 rounds, yeah?
Okay.
Sure. Cool. Now, who wants to go first, you or me? So, of course, we're talking about the historicity of Jesus.
I'll go first, if that's okay. Okay. So, Arul, my question to you
Yeah.
is where do you get the historicity, the bulk of the information about the history of Jesus? Where do you get that from?
So, you don't want to focus on the actual question at hand, the final topic.
I should be
Do
able
we-
to ask any related to the topic. I should be able to ask the question, right?
Okay, so which means we're going to go for a long time.
That's fine. Let's do
Okay,
it.
cool.
Where
So,
do you get all the where do you get all the historical information about Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him?
no, it's not Prophet Jesus. So,
Fast he is.
okay, no. In this case, we just go by the name. You say Jesus.
I can't say Jesus and not say peace be upon him.
Okay.
Because for us as a Muslim, we have to say peace be upon him.
That's fine. But you just say Jesus and I just say Muhammad. I don't want you to say Prophet Jesus.
No, that's fine. Look, if I call him a prophet, that's not disrespectful.
It is disrespectful
No.
for me.
No.
He is God. If you call him a prophet, it's very
I
disrespectful
think
for
the
me.
Bible calls him a prophet as well, doesn't it?
Also,
Yes.
but he's much more than that.
Yeah, but if the Bible
therefore-
calls him a prophet, how can that be disrespectful?
Well, the Bible doesn't call him a prophet alone and not by direct reference anyway. So I'll put it this way: if well, honestly, so can I every time I say Muhammad, can I say the mythical Muhammad? Would you be happy with that?
You cannot see the difference between those two statements.
Well, in your case, you want to say what you want to say. In my case, I want to say what I want to say. Will you be happy with if I said the mythical
Are
Muhammad?
both of these similar statements?
Both of them are similar in the sense that you get to say what you want to say and I get to say what I want to say.
One is,
And therefore, can I please suggest to you,
Arul, one is
let's...
clearly disrespectful and one is not.
Yeah. So you saying Jesus is only a prophet is
I
disrespectful.
didn't say only, I said
Calling him a prophet.
Prophet Jesus, as the Bible calls him.
Calling...
Prophet.
nowhere does the Bible call him prophet Jesus. No.
Jesus is not a prophet.
He is a prophet too. But nowhere do you find the expression prophet Jesus in the Bible. Nowhere.
Prophet too, right?
But nowhere in the Bible
He attaches
do you...
the word prophet to him.
No, nowhere in the
word
Bible...
prophet is attached to Jesus.
But nowhere in the Bible do you get the expression prophet Jesus. So don't make things up, please.
I didn't say prophet Jesus. I
Sure.
said,
Abbas.
attaches the word prophet to him.
I think for us to... Okay, so in this case, very simply, if you ask a question, I would correct your question first before I respond.
Okay, I've asked my question. Just respond, please, Arul.
So what kind of information material do I use?
I said, where do you get the information about the historical Jesus?
Cool. So in relation to Jesus Christ, I have the books that show up in the Bible. These are demonstrably first century documents, and I can demonstrate them to be first century documents. So I'm really primarily talking about the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, but also I'm talking about the other books which are in the New Testament. The book of Acts, the number of letters written by a few different apostles and so on. All of these are sources of information. It doesn't stop there. I also go to extra biblical sources. I have Christian, non-Christian, Jewish sources, Josephus, the Talmud, non-Christian Roman sources, Tacitus, Suetonius, Pliny the Younger, non-Christian Greek source. I go to all of these sources and also to archaeology outside of these sources in terms of coins, in terms of stuff such as pilot stone and so on. All of these together act as source of information for me on the historical person of Jesus Christ. The most important point I want to make in regards to all of these points is that all of these are qualified sources, because all of these are datable to the first century. Especially given the fact that with Jesus Christ, I'm talking about something which is supernatural, death, burial, resurrection, something tremendously supernatural. Alongside the fact that he performed signs and wonders, I'm talking about someone who was very popular through supernatural wonders. Especially death, burial, resurrection. In that context, first century documents are the sources that I use. Did you have any comment on what I said so?
First of all, the earliest manuscripts of the Bible that we have are 2nd century, and they're the size of a credit card size. The first complete Bible we have is 4th century, which is different to the Bible that we have today. You mentioned that those are biblical sources. Biblical scholars widely, almost unanimously agree that the words of Jesus or the 1st century, 2nd century documentation that we have been often fabricated, changed, manipulated. We have verses that were not there in the original or the early manuscripts. We have verses that we can see through later manuscripts that were found where these things have been either added or removed. And when you mention sources outside of the Bible, like Josephus, biblical scholars agree that his works have been actually altered and changed because he's a Jewish historian. And he calls Jesus the Messiah. And they said this is not something that he would have done. So this is Christians who are adding in afterwards. In other words, what you're actually showing me is people believe certain things in the future which they have added in to the scriptures to confirm their beliefs, rather than the scripture guiding them to believe those things about Jesus. You have actually put the cart before the horse, I would say, respectfully. Those things that you have listed are widely accepted by Christian academics, many of whom are churchgoers, that these have not been preserved, they have not been faithfully copied, there have been lots of scribal errors and lots of deliberate changes that were made by the scribes. So I don't think that those things are reliable, no.
Cool. So here is where, Abbas, you did an elementary mistake. Maybe 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, you showed up yourself as if you know history and you said that, hey, we need to go with evidence. But listen to your own statements in the last 4 or 5 minutes. You had nothing to offer in relation to evidence. All your comments are comments that some scholars say, which you craftily misrepresent as if all scholars agree. You didn't name any scholar for us to understand, but that is not the important point. Are you going to... Sorry.
No, you want scholar names.
No.
Scholar names.
I want you to listen to me when I'm speaking.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Yeah, this is distracting.
No, I'm getting the evidence for you.
No,
This
is distracting.
Well,
This
please,
is distracting. So I'd really like for you to...
Don't worry, I'm paying attention.
Sure. So, evidence is king. You pretended you knew it when it comes to history, but you clearly have demonstrated you haven't got a clue. Because you're not going with any evidence, you're just saying, scholars say. First of all, not all scholars are on the same boat. Second of all, even if some scholars say something, it doesn't mean much, because ultimately for history, what we care about is where does the evidence lead us to. And here is where my point is very simply to you. So you use terms such as the Gospels are altered, changed. I'd really like for you to present some evidence for what we are talking about.
Okay.
But this is not the question I'm asking to you right now. No, that's not the question I'm asking right now.
You just did. So.
No.
Well, you just did.
Maybe you misunderstood our rules. Our rules, if you remember our rules, you asked the question for a free flow. I would respond. You would merely comment on my response, the first response. Merely comment on my comment on my response.
You finish.
Merely comment on my response, and then we'll have one more round with 2 rounds. So this is not a place where you're going to introduce new material.
I'm not introducing new material.
So the point very simply is, if you want to have a proper full-fledged conversation on these,
Arul, just make your point, please.
My point very simply is, Abbas, focus on what I said earlier.
Just say your point, let me focus on whatever I want to focus on.
Okay, in that case,
don't dictate what I'm
in that case, you don't even understand what you ask question and I respond even means.
If you don't want to have the discussion, you can go, it's fine.
Yeah,
but
fine.
I'm prepared to have the discussion with you.
No,
I'm not walking away.
but you don't seem to. I'm not walking away anywhere.
Finish your point.
But my point very simply is, you don't seem to understand the rules that we agreed on earlier.
Do your rebuttal to my statement, and then I will get a chance to come back to you.
I'm not. In terms of
Can
question.
you see what you're doing here?
I am seeing what I'm doing right now,
We were having
which
a
is
discussion.
which is
You realise that this is not going your way, and now you're making excuses to try to end the discussion.
No.
If you want to end the discussion, end the discussion.
Abbas, note carefully. We agreed on a rule.
Just give me your rebuttal.
We agreed on rule.
Give me your rebuttal. Otherwise, go away, please. Don't play these silly games with me.
Okay,
Do the rebuttal.
do you understand English or not? Do you understand English or not? Do you understand English or
This is
not?
your last chance.
No, do you understand English or
Do
not?
the rebuttal or walk away.
No, Abbas,
Either you
I'm
do-
hoping
either you do
I'm
the
hoping
response-
you are intelligent enough
Do
to
your
engage in a
response- do your
conversation
response or walk
based on
Can
the
you see
rules.
what's happening?
Can you see exactly what
Can
is
you see
happening?
what's
This
happening?
way. The camera is this
Can
way.
you see what's happening?
What is happening exactly is, Abbas, very simply, you don't understand. You don't understand
Are you
what.
going to do the rebuttal or not?
You don't understand.
gonna do the
you
rebuttal?
don't. Are you going to stick to the rules or not?
Are you going to do the rebuttal?
Are you going to stick to the
I am
rules or not?
sticking to the rules.
The rules, very simply, is you ask question.
Yes. You have a chance to answer.
I
have a chance to come back to you.
Now-
And then if I raise new points, the person has a chance to come back to those
No,
new
that
points.
is not the point. We are merely going to comment.
You've raised new points. You've raised new questions. Why
Good.
should I not be able to answer those?
This okay. In other words, we don't even have agreement on the format.
Okay, then leave it
The
then.
format. Okay,
Then
that's
leave
fine.
it. If you don't want to have the
If
discussion,
this,
I'll just finish up here.
yeah, if
I'll
this
finish
is
you off here.
if
don't worry.
yeah, finish off if that's the mythical
Nice.
world that you want to
See
live
you
in.
later.
But given that we had one round on Jesus, would you like to have one round on Muhammad?
You finish your rebuttal. I'll finish my point that I'm going to make to you.
No, did you?
And then you can ask me a
given
question.
given that
And then
given
you can ask me a question.
given that we had one round
Arul.
already on
Okay.
Jesus, would you like to have
I'm
something
giving you
on
one
Muhammad?
last chance. You either listen to what I said and you respond like a grown-up adult, or I'm going to walk away.
Look, I want you.
I haven't finished. I haven't finished. Either you act like an adult, or I'm going to walk away.
Okay. If you act like an adult,
Hold on a second.
Abbas,
I
one
haven't
second.
finished.
I know.
I
You're
haven't
going to
finished.
repeat it a number of
I
times.
haven't finished.
If you want to, I don't see you
Arul,
acting like an adult right
I
now.
haven't finished.
I don't see you.
If
don't.
you ask me a question, and I answer that question, and in your rebuttal, you bring up new points, and then you expect me not to deal with those new points, it's not going to happen.
And
If
therefore,
you're not happy with that, please go away.
in other words, we don't have a working format
Fine, then
because
go.
the format.
Okay, then
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Then shake
So
my
in
hand
other,
and go.
yeah, in other words,
Bye-bye.
we can't
No
have
problem.
we can't
No
even.
problem, bro.
That's fine.
Bro.
Abbas, lovely to
Bye-bye.
see you.
Nice to see you too.
Lovely to see you.
Bye-bye.
Lovely to see you. Now,
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Good to
Arul.
see you. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Don't push me.
I'm
Why
not
are you pushing me?
I need you to get out of the camera so I can finish
I know.
up.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So if I could have a.
See what happens.
So exactly what happened here
Start the discussion.
is that
Arul, you're gonna
Abbas.
have to do that next to me.
I have the camera
Okay.
here.
See, this is,
You want?
this is how petty he is. This is how petty he is. Because he knows I want to finish the discussion, he has to be in the shot.
No, the point very simply.
You could do
The
your-
point.
you could do
The
your
point.
Finish up on
the-
your one little camera over there.
The point
then
very.
you finish up to the
The
camera
point.
again.
The
Why
point.
are you
ve-
being-
The
Why are
point.
you being like this?
The point very
Why are you
simple.
being like a child? Come
Okay,
on.
you are the one who is being like a
Where
child.
did he go?
Constantly talking
Please,
about,
go. Make
behaving
some-
like an
make
adult.
some space
But
for him. Let him go.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye. So, we have the Mickey Mouse scholars here. We have Abbas there, who really said he wants to speak about evidence, but note carefully, when it came to the actual conversation, nothing so far by way of evidence. What he rather presents are scholars, opinions, and he misrepresents the conversation but misrepresents the scholars by saying that all scholars agree in a particular thing and so on. So this is Abbas. Began with a complaint while we were trying to have an adult conversation. Began with a complaint, and then number two is he sets rules for himself which he doesn't follow. So that's the quality of E.F. Dawah's conversation. He has been a little bit petty by also commenting already on who is petty, who needs to be an adult, and so on, as opposed to focusing on the meat of the argument. So the one last person at Speaker's Corner, a Muslim Dawah gentleman who really wanted to have a conversation, did not want to engage in a meaningful exchange for us. So God bless him, but clueless again, like the rest of the Dawah fellows. Thank you very much.